bonds yet, but I'm talking more in terms of government bonds for now. Government bonds are directly influenced, rather prices are influenced by the yields. What are yields? Bond yields are simply where at any point in time where markets want to lend money to the government, right? For example, or put differently, the government bond yield is simply a reflection of where the government can borrow at that point in time. If you want to issue a fresh bond right now, what is the interest rate at which I can borrow? That's the yield at any point in time. So government bond yields are directly therefore related to the broad interest rates in the economy, firstly, which means what is RBI doing? If RBI is going to cut rates, then you can expect the overall yield curve or the yields with respect to time, different yields with respect to time, right? Yield curve as we call it, when 1 year yield, 2 year yield and so on, to fall when RBI cuts rates. And when RBI increases rates, the yields are expected to go up. This is logical. Secondly, yields are not simply what RBI is doing, meaning if RBI cuts rates tomorrow, let's say RBI is cutting rate, but at the same time, the government has a huge borrowing to be done. For example, during COVID time, they had to support the economy, right? They had to massively borrow. So they had to disrupt the fiscal deficits. They had to increase the fiscal deficit massively, right? So they borrowed massive amount of money in the market. Now, even though RBI is cutting rates, the short end, meaning 6 month, 3-month rate, 6-month rate, 1 year bond rate, all these are what is called T-bill, right? We discussed in the last session, T-bill rates. Less than 1 year, it's called T-bill. So all the T-bill rates, for example, 3 months, 6 months, they're all T-bill rates. Those yields will react to the fact that RBI is cutting rates. So people are, the rate at which you invest money is going to go down. Therefore, markets will give government the fresh bond issues or yields are going to go down. That's short term, logical. But long term, let's say 10 years, if a government wants to borrow money for 10 years or 15 years or 30 years, now government will like to borrow as much money possible because it's a crunch time, right? The borrowing rate will increase. A lot of borrowing will happen. At that time, for example, in COVID, what happened was RBI cut rates to 4% during March to June of 2020 happened. RBI cut rates to virtually 4 to 4.5% range. The short-term 3-month, 6-month T-bill rates also fell a lot. They were at around 5%. But the long end, meaning 10 year, 15 year, all those bond yields did not fall. They continue to be at 6.5%. Why? Because market is concerned about massive government borrowing. The liquidity in the market is tight because government is borrowing so much money. Who will invest? The entire market liquidity they are sucking out because they are investing so much in the they're borrowing so much in the market, right? Those factors also influence government bond yields. So government bond yields are not only influenced by what RBI is doing or what central banks in general are doing, but it is also influenced by government liquidity, government borrowing program, how much fiscal deficit they are going to run next year. All of these news items play a role in